The exciting concert performances recorded live in Austin, Texas on Austin City Limits. Saturday nights at 10 here on Channel 2, WSJK-TV, Sneedville, Tennessee.
For Terms of Endearment, Miss Shirley MacLaine.
I'm Michael Caine, and I'm up for an Academy Award for Educating Rita.
I'm Amy Irving. I'm up for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in Yentl.
I'm Charles Durning, and I'm Best Supporting Actor for To Be or Not To Be.
I'm John Lithgow. I'm up for an Academy Award. Who would have dreamed it? For Terms of Endearment.
Well, those were just a few of Hollywood's hottest and most nervous actors. They're all Academy Award nominees, and they're eagerly awaiting the night of April 9th. For on that night, the most glittering in Hollywood, the envelopes will be furiously torn open at last, and Hollywood will finally award the Oscars. I'm Jeffrey Lyons.
And I'm Neal Gabler. You know, the American movie industry is a lot like the Kremlin. We don't know too much about how it really operates, but every year at just about this time, Hollywood does give us an opportunity to see how its mind works and to see what it thinks is real quality. And that opportunity, of course, is the Academy Awards. And on the special sneak previews, Jeffrey and I are fearlessly going to handicap this year's Oscars. We'll show you clips of all the major nominees, and we'll tell you which actor, which actress, which supporting actor, which supporting actress, and which picture we think are going to win the Oscars next Monday night. And we'll even try to tell you why we think they're going to win.
I hope so. Well, in the category of Best Supporting Actress, the nominees played a wide range of people, from a college graduate to a factory worker, from a domestic to a blushing bride-to-be, and most are relatively new to films.
Henry.
What did you do to your face?
Doesn't she look great?
Cher as the wisecracking best friend of Meryl Streep in Silkwood.
You know, sometimes I wonder if maybe I was just sick of being such a good girl. I can always be counted on to do the right thing. It's a disgusting curse.
Glenn Close is one of the old college chums who get together to mourn a classmate in The Big Chill.
I made you see things. I made you feel something about what you write. I gave you my trust. So did Jill. I created you.
Linda Hunt playing a man with important contacts in turbulent Indonesia in the year of living dangerously.
How could he resist her?
An almond cookie?
And why would he try?
How'd you get them all the same size?
No wonder he wants her.
You notice
He
everything.
needs her.
Amy Irving as the beautiful but vapid bride-to-be of the Talmudic student in Yentl.
But you a woman, and you live by yourself, and don't nobody take advantage of you. I've been watching how you do it. That's what I want to be like.
And Alfre Woodard as the spunky maid to Mary Steenburgen in Cross Creek. And my prediction for the Best Supporting Actress of the Year is Linda Hunt. She stole the year of living dangerously, giving a performance that was so unusual, so instantly riveting, that at times the movie seemed to revolve around her character.
I think that Linda Hunt is the most deserving of these nominees.
By far.
But I'm not sure how many members of the Academy saw the movie, and I think the winner is going to be Cher because she gives the most obvious performance. She's not wearing any makeup. You know that Cher is really glamorous in person, but in this movie, she de-glamorizes herself, and I think she's going to get rewarded for that.
I think in this year, justice is going to triumph, and it's going to go to Linda Hunt. I hope enough people saw the picture, and I'm really hoping because she's deserving. She's far and away the most important person nominated here.
I hope you're right, Jeffrey. I fear you're going to be wrong. I think it's going to be Cher. Well, our next category is Best Supporting Actor, and this year they've rounded up all the usual suspects. There are 3 solid journeyman character actors. There's one newcomer on the brink of full-fledged stardom, and there's one full-fledged star who stepped down to do a supporting role. The nominees are...
Brandy. Now, that reminds me of a very funny story going around Warsaw. A story about a Führer. Now, how does it go? Oh, yes. They named a brandy after Napoleon. They made a herring out of Bismarck. And Hitler will end up as a pickle. A pickle? Yes, because he is such a sour puss.
Charles Durning is a ridiculously pompous Nazi officer in the comedy To Be or Not to Be.
You're a very rude young woman. I know Douglas from the Rotary, and I can't believe he'd want you treating customers so badly.
I don't think I was treating her badly.
Then you must be from New York.
John Lithgow is Deborah Winger's shy, bumbling lover in Terms of Endearment.
You got me into this, and you're just gonna have to trust me about this one thing. You need a lot of drinks.
Jack Nicholson, also for Terms of Endearment, is the cagey, womanizing astronaut who wins Shirley MacLaine's heart.
If I ever see that happen, I'm going right out the front door. And you'll never catch me.
You know, I'm a fearless man, but I'm scared to death of you.
Sam Shepard is the fearless test pilot Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier in The Right Stuff.
What kind of woman shoot a hog in the middle of a storm? And what you told me?
Was it a good shot?
No, ma'am, it was not. I had to finish it off myself.
And Rip Torn is the boorish, conniving Florida backwoodsman in Cross Creek. Now, my guess is that Jack Nicholson is going to win for Terms of Endearment because just when the movie needs a little juice, Nicholson is there to provide it.
I agree. I think Rip Torn's one of America's most underrated actors. I think John Lithgow brought a wonderful degree of humanity to his role.
He's a nice man that comes across on the screen.
But Jack Nicholson brought Jack Nicholson to that role. The moment you saw him, even in that clip there, you just see that that's the Jack Nicholson we all know and love.
It's a starring performance in a supporting role, and it is the class of this field, and I think there's no doubt Nicholson is going to win it.
Yeah, he brought a good deal of his personality to the part. It comes across, and he really helped the story. I think it's going to be Nicholson all the way. Well, in the category of Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role, there are some ironies this year, because all the nominees played mothers or mothers-to-be, but gave new interpretations to such a traditional role. And though it was mostly a mediocre year for movies overall, each of the nominees was exceptional, even brilliant. Here are the nominees.
What do we do now?
Make a wish.
What do we wish for, Mom?
That we remember it all.
Jane Alexander as the stoic mother in the aftermath of a nuclear holocaust in Testament.
Well, I think that is extremely rude. Noticing other women when you're with me.
I think we're gonna have to get drunk.
I don't get drunk, and I don't care for escorts who do.
Shirley MacLaine, the quirky mother at the center of evolving relations in Terms of Endearment.
I keep my pills in there, in that drawer, because I have an allergy, and they don't let you bring medication to the plant, so I hid them in there.
I don't believe you.
Well, I think you should take a person's word for something.
Meryl Streep for the title portrayal of doomed nuclear products technician in Silkwood.
Well, that's no good, is it? Always meaning to. You want to get on with it, because one of these days you'll be shot and come in, and it'll go on forever, because the poor sod on the other side won't be able to get in, and you won't be able to get out.
Julie Walters in her movie debut in the title role of a woman trying to better herself in educating Rita.
If you are doing something, and you're trying to make me feel crazy because I'm bearing our child, then you may have just sunk to a point so low that you will never recover. You may have just panicked, Flap. And trying to save yourself, you've thrown out your character principles.
And Deborah Winger as Shirley MacLaine's feisty daughter fighting for her life in Terms of Endearment. Now, I'm not a gambling man, but I think this year you can bet the hacienda and the ranch that Shirley MacLaine, so often a nominee for an Oscar but never a winner, will finally cop the Academy Award as Best Actress in Terms of Endearment. Now, she's often played victims before, but here, her character wasn't just a victim. She grew, she changed and evolved, and she bared her soul in one of the most complex performances in a decade. Here's some of what I mean in the scene in which she gets some distressing news at the dinner table.
What's wrong with you?
I got some good news.
What's that?
I'm unofficially pregnant. I mean, we haven't gotten the test back yet, but you know me, I'm never late.
Well,
No, I don't understand.
If you're not happy for me, I'm gonna get so mad if you're not happy.
Why should I? Why should I be happy about being a grandmother?
This is going to sound like terms of agreement, but I agree with you. Shirley MacLaine gives a really quality performance, so she's got the strength of her performance going for her. She, as you said, has been nominated a number of other times, so she's paid her dues, and she's got sentiment going for her, and she's in a very strong picture, Terms of Endearment, so she's got the Terms of Endearment ticket going for her as well.
Now listen, Jane Alexander is my favorite actress. If I'm going to predict another actress, it's got to be for almost a classic performance, and Shirley MacLaine evolves in this movie along with everybody else in the film, but you grow with her. She bears her soul on camera. She says she deserved it, and she's right. It is an extraordinary work of acting.
Yeah, the closest thing to a lock, I think, in all of the predictions that we're making. There's an incredible range in the performance. Well, the next category is Best Actor, and the list of nominees tells you something about Hollywood's admiration for the British, since 4 of the nominees are English. I guess Hollywood thinks that the English are more serious and high-minded than its own actors. Anyway, the nominees for Best Actor are...
The thing is, why don't you come as well? It would be good for us to leave a country that's just finishing for one that's just beginning.
Michael Caine in Educating Rita as a disillusioned professor who learns from an unusual student.
The body of Christ, the bread of man. The body of Christ, the bread of man. The body of Christ.
Oh, no, thanks, no. I'm on a diet.
Tom Conti is the drunken, philandering, over-the-hill Scottish poet in Reuben Reuben.
I'd have given anything to see the play tonight. There's you all blacked up and Cordelia saying, "You begot me, bred me, loved me." Well, you see, Ducky, gives King Lear, he been about a bit.
Tom Courtney is the little popinjay of an assistant to a fading actor in the title role of the dresser.
When you were a little girl, I used to call you sister. I started to call you that this time when I saw you, but I didn't know if it meant anything to you or not. You'd remember me doing that.
Robert Duvall for Tender Mercies as a former country singer seeking redemption with a new life in Texas.
Speak well of me. You are the only one who really, truly loves me.
And Albert Finney is a hammy, egotistical Shakespearean actor in The Dresser. Now, my guess is that the winner will be Robert Duvall for Tender Mercies, in part, I think, because the Academy will recognize that Duvall has the hardest role to play, a man who reveals very little of himself. Now, in this scene, you'll see what I mean by the integrity of Duvall's performance. A disappointment has prompted him to think about leaving his new wife and hitting the bottle again. But he returns home, sober and accepting.
I rode by here 6 or 7 times. I can see y'all sitting here watching TV. See me ride by?
No.
I rode all over town tonight. Started twice for San Antonio, turned around, came back. Started for Austin, started for Dallas. Turned around, came back.
I think it's a very strong category. I've seen Tender Mercies several times, and when we saw it early last year, we both said, this is the performance to beat. I'd be happy if anyone won in this strong category, but I think it belongs to Robert Duvall.
I really want to see him win. I think he's the kind of actor that Hollywood loves because he's a technically proficient actor. He's essentially a character actor playing starring roles rather than a big star. And I think Hollywood likes to reward that kind of actor rather than the big star.
But each time you study his performance here, you see something new in it. It grows on you, and you can see new layers in it. You can see how he really got into the role to an extraordinary degree.
It's a great performance. That my only objection here is that Eric Roberts should have been nominated for Star 80. That's the injustice of all of the nominations.
Now to the big one. The nominees for the Best Picture of the Year, I need an envelope now, are a diverse group of movies. Some big hits, one a major box office flop, surprisingly, and one which has already played for a month or so on pay TV, incredibly, and one which is yet to reach a wide audience. Here are the nominees for Best Picture.
No, you'd never get a crowd this big at my funeral.
Oh, Karen, come on, I'll come and, I'll bring a date.
I know this is hard for you, but it's all beautiful.
Yeah. We put on a great funeral here.
The Big Chill is about old college chums who have a soul-searching reunion at a classmate's funeral. Bringing a group of people together, each with a story to tell, is nothing new, but it was ensemble acting at its finest.
Oh, no, sir, no! not Othello! The lines are fouled. Instruct the puppeteer to renew the strings.
The Dresser, about a bombastic old Shakespearean actor on his last legs and his prissy backstage valet propping him up for one last performance. It was some of the best acting I've seen in years.
There's another hold from NASA, another delay. And Alan Shepard sits there patiently waiting. What can be going through a man's mind at this moment?
Gordo, I have to urinate.
The Right Stuff, which had the wrong stuff for a box office winner, is nevertheless a nominee too. This highly touted epic retold America's dramatic entry into the space age.
I have a daughter.
You do?
She's 7 or 8 years older than your boy.
Where is she?
With her mama. Me and her mama are divorced. We get along too well, and I reckon my...
Would you all stop talking? I can't get to sleep.
Tender Mercies is an intimate movie about a man getting a second chance in life, trying to pick himself up and start over again. It was perhaps the year's most gentle film, yet emotionally powerful as well.
Garrett! Garrett! Come here.
I was curious. Do you have any reaction at all to my telling you I love you?
I was just inches from a clean getaway.
And finally, Terms of Endearment, the most popular of the nominees, about enduring, evolving relationships in a family undergoing great change. Its title is one I think you'll be hearing all evening, April 9th.
Well, so far we've been going through the categories and giving you our impressions of who we think is going to win. But for Best Picture, we've decided to take the scientific approach. We looked at the Oscar winners over the past 5 to 10 years to see if we could find a pattern that would help us predict this year's winner. Well, we did find a pattern, and Jeffrey and I went out to Los Angeles to see which of the 5 nominees for Best Picture fits our little formula the best.
In a few days, right here inside the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion here in downtown Los Angeles, they'll be awarding the Oscar for the Best Picture of the year. Now, of course, there's no hard and fast way of predicting just which movie will win the Oscar. But we think there are 3 rules of thumb. We've devised a system for handicapping the winner. Rule number 1, a movie must do well at the box office, but not too well. Gene Allen, president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
If it really is a good picture, it's had great box office. You know, the public and the professionals are not that far apart when it comes down to what makes a good movie. Just want to add something else, too. By its very nature, if you're saying, well, the ones that win at least always did well in the box office, the reason it did well in the box office, perhaps, is because it was the best picture.
According to an industry trade paper, Variety, only one of the all-time box office champion films won the Best Picture Oscar. It's The Godfather, and it's way down at number 10. And according to The Hollywood Reporter, not one of the top 10 box office hits released last year was nominated for Best Picture. And as you can see here on the same chart, The Big Chill and Terms of Endearment, 2 Best Picture nominees, were successful in '83, but have yet to become huge blockbusters. So we've seen that for a movie to win the Best Picture Oscar, it has to do well at the box office, so long as it's not an all-time blockbuster. Now, only 2 of this year's nominees for Best Picture qualify, Terms of Endearment and The Big Chill. But the Motion Picture Academy, the Oscar voters themselves, don't just care about the box office. Rule number 2 is that a movie has to have great reviews from the vast majority of critics. There has to be a critical consensus that the movie is something special. Now, all the nominees got generally good reviews, nothing special about that. But only one of the nominated pictures got the kind of reviews that separates it from the pack.
James Brooks created really the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Taxi Lou Grant. He wrote, directed, and produced Terms of Endearment. Well, Mr. Brooks had better start looking under home improvements in the Beverly Hills Yellow Pages. He's going to need an addition to his mantelpiece to hold those statues they give away in Hollywood each spring.
I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of these major players get Academy Award nominations for their work in Terms of Endearment. Oh, and the man who wrote the story. He adapted the 1975 book. He directed the movie, James Brooks. He'll be recognized, too.
Terms of Endearment is here, and small doubt that it's the most endearing, classiest, funniest, and finally weepiest movie of the year.
There's nothing more exciting than watching a new movie you know very little about, having it take you through an emotional experience,
and leaving you with an afterglow that makes you say, wow, I haven't felt that way in a long time, but I do after seeing Terms of Endearment.
And the print critics, well, they were every bit as enthusiastic. Terms of Endearment is a funny, touching, beautifully acted film, wrote Janet Maslin of the New York Times. Seen by wonderful scene, Terms of Endearment may be the most emotionally satisfying Hollywood movie this year, wrote David Anson in Newsweek. Richard Schickel of Time magazine said it is the best movie of the year. And Jim Harwood in Variety raved that teaming of Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson at their best makes Terms of Endearment an enormously enjoyable offering. And Sheila Benson in the Los Angeles Times wrote, in this pungent and beautifully observed film, the most completely satisfying of this and many another year, life is fascinating, tender, and hilarious. Well, Terms of Endearment certainly satisfies rule number 2. It got across-the-board raves from the critics. That brings us to rule number 3, which may be the most important rule of them all. A movie has to be a serious human drama. The more human, the more serious, the better its chances of winning Best Picture. Now, the studios, of course, wouldn't mind if every picture were Star Wars, but when the Academy votes for Best Picture, they reward nobility and high-mindedness, not just good entertainment.
I would say the pictures win that are stories about people, directly the lives and loves of individuals. I have a hunch that novels and films and paintings, whatever, that deal with the human condition have a greater appeal and a lasting effect on all of us, and maybe that's why we vote for that kind of a picture over one that is a pure spectacle or one that is pure comedy.
And the recent winners of the Best Picture Oscar do concentrate on serious human drama. 1979's winner, Kramer vs. Kramer, about a bitter custody battle, was intimate and emotional. Even the title of 1980's winner, Ordinary People, suggested that even ordinary people related to the searing domestic drama about intimate lives as a family came apart at the seams. The following year, extraordinary people were depicted in Chariots of Fire, but though it was on a grander scale, the 81 Oscar winner was just as serious, emotional, and dramatic. And last year, none of the nominees was an intimate domestic drama, but Gandhi did win the Oscar because that epic biography about how one man affected millions of others was high-minded and inspiring. You could say that each of this year's nominees, The Big Chill, The Dresser, The Right Stuff, Tender Mercies, and Terms of Endearment, all deal with people in dramatic situations. But Terms of Endearment's familiar characters represent the many triumphs and tragedies of the broadest cross-sections of Americans. So the film touched the lives of virtually everyone who saw it. And as well, it profoundly affected the people who made the movie. Penny Finkelman is the co-producer of this film, Terms of Endearment.
From the very first time I read the script, I was completely committed to Terms of Endearment. I thought it would be a phenomenal film, ambitious, but worth all the effort that we would eventually put into it. The characters were so incredibly rich and warm, and the story was something, of course, that I immediately felt close to.
This is a very special movie. When did you know that it was really something different? Reading the screenplay?
Oh, yes, about 2 minutes after I put it down. Oh, yes, it was very clear to me.
What was it like watching Terms of Endearment? Just as a viewer?
Tremendous. It had an incredibly powerful effect on me, and I was sitting with everybody who'd been involved in it. I was sitting right in front of Jim Brooks, and Shirley was on my left, and Deborah was on my right, and I sat there audibly sobbing all through the last 20 minutes of it. I mean, shoulders shaking.
Terms of Endearment is already on a roll. It's won Best Picture honors from the New York Film Critics, a Golden Globe Award from the Foreign Press, the Best Picture Award from the Los Angeles Film Critics, and the Best Picture from the National Board of Review.
Does Terms of Endearment deserve the Oscar for Best Picture?
Yes, I think it does. I think there are several that do, but I think that does too.
And so, applying the 3 rules of thumb we've established to predict this year's Oscar winner: number 1, that a movie must do well at the box office, but not too well; number 2, that a film must have a strong and unanimous critical response; and number 3, that to win, a picture must be a serious human drama. It's our inevitable, fearless conclusion and prediction that the winner of the 56th Annual Academy Award for the Best Picture of the Year will be Terms of Endearment. And here's the homecoming scene, just one of many great scenes that make this film a winner.
No. You don't need
Emma in the
outsiders.
You know outsiders.
See them later.
Please.
Really.
Oh, yeah. Em, this is Garrett.
Oh,
The one.
pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Yes, well, your mother's really been looking forward to this, too. So, go ahead.
Anything wrong, Garrett?
No.
It was very nice to have met you.
Must be nice to be home, huh?
Oh, it's great. It's great. I'll be over later. They're probably tired anyway and will get to sleep early, and I'd like to get to bed early.
Grandma! Grandma!
Bye-bye.
I'd hate to be the one to have to choose between Terms of Endearment and Tender Mercies, which is a film I love dearly, but I think that Terms of Endearment is the face that Hollywood wants to present to the American public. It's serious, it's intimate, it's concerned with the lives of the ordinary American.
I'd add The Dresser to that list of my favorite films among the nominees, but this picture is something special, as we've seen and heard, because I remember you saying, you went out on a limb saying this will win the Academy Award. We saw this film together. When you come out of there, you haven't just seen a movie, you've gone through an experience. These people bare their souls on camera, and when you finish watching the picture, you have gone through the emotional crises right with them. The emotions are as close to being real as I've ever felt in the movie.
Yes, and not only do we think it will win, but maybe it deserves to win, and that's not always the case in the Academy Awards. Well, that's it for this week's Oscar special. We'll see you next week, and until then, save us the aisle seats.